Thanks for staying with us. So our guest is a multifaceted entrepreneur, philanthropist, and motivational leader, and visionary founder of the Quiver Full, a non-profit organization dedicated to empowering women with infertility and obstetric issues. Drawing from her own personal experience and driven by compassion, she's also sought after speaker. The platform has offered motivational seminars, skills acquisition programs, and empowerment forums. Welcome with us, Catherine Abagun, to the show. Good to have you.
Thank you.
I mean,
nice to be here.
So to join the conversation, you can call us on 091-390-76943. You can also send us messages on X and also on YouTube. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts. So we know your story about infertility and one of the reasons why you were able to start Quiver Full. Before we go into what you do, just let's give us a bit of a background of your own personal story. That will give us an insight to how we can take this conversation.
Thank you very much. So I married year 2000, and like every other woman, you want to get pregnant. And it was a very tough one. And of course, when you're not financially buoyant, the chances are limited. Your medical exploration is limited. The kind of clinic to go to is, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So that kind of complicated our journey a little bit. Because when I took in and I started sporting, and of course we went to the clinic, the private hospital where we were using then. At that time we were owing 3,000 naira, not dollars. And of course the doctor, of course I don't judge him, he refused to see us. And it was not those days of ATM or that you can just walk to ATM and draw money and all that. Anyway, even if there was no money anywhere. So. And that's how we went to another hospital, public hospital, and then we had the evacuation done, and complications started from there. There was no, they didn't give me any antibiotics. I didn't know I was supposed to take any. And, that kind of complicated the issue, and that's how the journey started. So this is what kind of motivates me, because I see a lot of women, young couples, who are just starting life, and something as simple as just seeing, a specialist to tell you, you don't need to even do IVF. It's maybe a cyst, or you can take this particular medication, and everything is resolved. So this is what motivates me, because I believe that what I went through, no woman needs to go through it. And my own journey was even simple compared to the women I see these days. I married to my friend, so I didn't go through what women are going through now. You can never imagine what women are going through, where this is a society that kind of put all of the blames for conception on the woman. It takes a man and a woman to make babies, but usually when these challenges happen, the woman is stigmatized. The families are talking down on her. She doesn't have a voice. Her husband treats her shabbily. Husband will not go to the hospital to get himself checked. The stories are just, so heart-rending. Yeah. And this is what motivates us to start Quiver Full. And over the time, we've been able to encourage women that beyond having babies, there's more to life than making babies. One of the things that helped me while I was going through that journey was the fact that because I had a support, a good family that supports me, my in-laws are very supportive and all of these things. Not every woman had that opportunity. And that helped me to kind of grow my career. My life was not stagnant. I was growing in other areas. This is not the case for many women. Many women, brilliant, intelligent women, they're stuck. They can't do anything. This childbearing is the only agenda on their table.
So that's what makes them feel like they are women.
So Quiver Full, what exactly do you provide for women in your foundation? What are the specific?
Okay, so specifically what we do, first of all, we want to change people's mindset. Okay. We want you to focus on you first, because it takes a wholesome woman who is gainfully employed and financially empowered to raise babies. So what we do, we organize skill acquisition to help them, develop. If they have to go to school, we support them. And also for those who are ready, that, we walk you through this journey to ensure that your mindset and orientation are changing. And then if you are ready to go when we're ready to do fertility treatment, we sponsor them, 100% full sponsorship. And we've had very good results.
So what sort of impact would you say that in the last 7 years you have brought to the lives of women? And are there like particular stories that stood out for you in your interactions with the women as you meet them?
Oh, there are so many stories. I'm a Christian, and one of the major things that I also saw in Christendom is the fact that, because I struggle like that initially, every day we grow, is the fact that some Christian folks don't believe in seeking medical intervention or doing all of this assisted reproductive system, IVF and all of that, because they believe that, why do you want to help God? You don't have faith. Okay, so we've seen, there's a particular story that stood out for me. Is a man of God who has been married for 21 years, 20-something years. And for that period of 21 years, they had never done any form of course there was no money. And just one IVF attempt, they had a triplet. One IVF, and it will amaze you what that brought to the marriage. The kind of, even the woman looked better, she looks happy, and she's happier. The relationship is better. So this childbearing thing is a major.
Let's talk about the women's and their emotional capacity to handle some of these decisions, because there are other options like surrogacy, options like adoption that many people choose not to consider. As a woman who has gone through this, what kind of advice would you give women in the situation whereby they have to take those options? I mean, aside from the IVF, but the available options are adoption or surrogacy. How do you handle those kind of conversations?
Very interesting question. Interestingly, these are all if you go to Quiver, for women who have been through Quiver, we have all these options. We have women in a foundation that have surrogate babies. We have those that have adopted. So this is what we talked about, mindset changing. So we walk them through. If you are with us for a period of 3 months, there's no way on earth your mindset will not change. So people are now very open to. The only challenge is that you're working on the woman, and then by extension you also need to find a way to reach
work
the
with
man.
the husband.
So sometimes I bring my husband in or advise them to find like a father figure that the man can listen to, people that they respect, or a mentor that can explain all of this stuff to them. And then from time to time we also bring people who have done the same thing, and they just talk about it freely. There was a lady, Tony Lolo Gumade. She came on our program once on our fertility conference. Yeah, she spoke on our fertility conference, which is happening. This Saturday we're going to be having that fertility conference. It's an annual event where we bring doctors, experts to come and talk to people. There was a time we brought Mrs. Joke Silva, who herself is an adoptee, So they talk about this thing. I know, she everybody knows. Ooh, yeah, okay. She is. So she spoke about it, and this kind of, encourage people. It encouraged people to say, you know what, this thing is not that deep. Lolo Gumade did, a surrogate mom was Indian, and she talks about it. If you see the twins, the girl looks exactly like her. And the boy looks exactly like the husband. So people are more informed, although there are still people who are struggling even in Christendom. So my prayer is that our church folks will actually receive the courage and the understanding to know that these are God-given options. An adopted baby, there's no difference. That's the honest truth.
I hear you talk about
so do you work with specialists? And if you do, and how do you get funded?
Yes. So thank you for that question. So we work with a clinic called the Olive Branch Clinic in Lekki. Shout out to Dr. Emeka Ikena of the Olive Branch Clinic. Amazing man, amazing doctor, Honestly, it doesn't put any pressure on me. We are not really making much money in Quiver Full, so I will tell you that 90% of the funding comes from me. It's a lot of weight. And Dr. Emeka kind of simplified it for me, made it easy for me. Last year, the last payment we made, treatment we made was about 30 million.
Wow.
So
one person or several women?
Several women.
Okay.
So what I did was to pay an installment. And thankfully, nobody calls me. For one time that the accountant called me, he called him to his office and said, don't disturb Mrs. Abagun. You know, so they don't call me. Even if it's 2 years, there was a time for a whole year, I couldn't pay a dime. So I pay an installment. That's how I've been funding it.
Wow.
And, you know, of course, we know the economy is really challenging. There was a time people were giving stipends. Right now, as I speak with you, in fact, from the inception to now, I don't think we've raised up to 20 million. And in the course of that
period,
in terms of support.
Wow.
Did I say 20 million? 30 million. I'm not sure we've done that. I've told my account manager to actually.
So tell us about your go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, you mentioned God a lot.
Yes.
And of course, I can tell you talk about your relationship with God and Christianity.
Yes.
How important is the place of God in, you know, this kind of conversation, or in the life of a woman who is going through issues like this and maybe has not already found God, but is dealing with it just, you know, through science or something? How important do you think this
is? Very, very important, because the truth of the matter is science does not guarantee anything. And even doctors will tell you, we try, only God cures. Yeah. We care, God cures, right? So at the end of the day, the God factor, you cannot take that out. I mean, I've done IVF many attempts, and I know people that have done many attempts and it was never successful, right? And one person will just do once, and you know, these things the dynamics is so different. And the thing about knowing God is the fact that sometimes the way God will answer you is different from the way He would answer me. The challenge is that we always have a template, or we want God to work in particular ways.
It should be this way.
So you cannot ever rule out the God factor. And even there are no guarantees that even when you're pregnant, that you can carry the baby to full term, or that you will not die in the process, right? So we've had very difficult complications, even of pregnancies in Quiver Full. It was God that delivered a particular woman. That pregnancy, it is a spiritual battle sometimes. Most of these are spiritual, and you cannot use the physical to deal with the spiritual.
Everything is spiritual.
I'm telling you, it's the truth. It's the truth, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
The spiritual world controls the physical.
Yeah.
Let's go to the emotional part of women, because this is something that a lot of women, they're not able to bring themselves to take certain decisions. Because they feel, like I said, yes, there's a part of faith, there's a part of we don't have the money, there's a part of my husband's family would think I'm trying to do something fishy. You know, there's always that confusion. Yeah. So how does a woman bring herself to make a decision? Because you've been dealing with infertility. You've gone to the doctors, and you're confused. But your mind, your state of mind is so confused that you don't know what there are options. But taking that step is always that difficult step. How would you advise a woman who is going through that too?
Yes. So normally what I tell women is, I mean, beyond looking for, it's good to think of what would Murayo say if I take this decision? What will you feel if I do this? The first thing you need to know as a woman is to think of you first. How do you feel about the decision you're about to take? How will it make you feel? Because you're the one dealing with the problem. Everybody in the family goes back to their homes, their kids are calling them mommy, you know. And when you adopt, the truth of the matter is the day you adopt, and you see there's a difference between, I always tell people, because sometimes you can live in self-denial and you're a big mommy to many nieces and nephews, your house is always full, like my case was, and you really are not, and then there's no pressure. But when you have a baby and the first time the baby calls you mom, there's the difference. It doesn't matter whether it's adopted or through a surrogate. The name mom, it means a world of difference in the life of a woman.
Wow.
So you have to think about it. Think of me. You know, take out yourself from the old scenario and say, look, right now, me, I matter more than what every other person thinks. And when you take that decision, it will amaze you that people will fall in line. That's true.
I like where you just led us to. That's word mom. There's a way it makes you feel. But do you think it's because we are in this part of the world? Because I see a lot of people in other climes who do not care. They decide not to have children.
Yeah.
They don't want to have anything to do with bringing another baby into the wicked world, so to speak. So they rather adopt cats and dogs.
Yeah.
And they don't feel any way when nobody's there to call them mom. Do you think it's because we're in this part of the world where, you know, the woman is not complete till she has her own child?
Yeah.
Motherhood is seen as one thing that makes a woman.
Yeah.
Marriage is seen as the El Dorado, the all of all. Do you think it's because it's our culture? And do you foresee that in time it will change?
It's changing, actually. Okay. Culturally, is the way that Africans, you know, it's not only in Nigeria, it's something that is predominant in the African states. So, yes, it's because of the way, it's not even only having a child. Marriage is a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
No matter how successful or accomplished you are, without this thing on your fingers, you don't matter. In fact, when they're talking about, I don't know if you noticed, when they're talking about, oh, Morayo, you know, she's the MD of this, she's done this, she's done that. The next question somebody is going to ask, is she married?
Yeah.
You know, so it's important to us. But, I mean, things are changing. Right now, I know, because I know there are people, young, this generation, this Gen Z, they really don't give a hoot. Whether they have a husband or they are pregnant, they want to even keep their figures. Young people, fertile, are now looking for surrogate mothers because they don't want to spoil their figures. So things are changing. And, you know, this is why one of the things we do here is advocacy. We are advocating for families, for in-laws, mother-in-laws, to know that because there is no baby does not mean your son is not sterile. It takes two to make babies. We've seen a situation where, we've seen all sorts. The woman married very early, but the man, we have a situation of zero sperm. Zero. No sperm at all. And they've been praying and binding for many, many years. And, you know, the woman has been stigmatized and all this sort of thing. She's the only one going.
Collecting all the injections.
You know, so these are real issues that we as Africans, as Nigerians, we need to have a rethink. We need to start to think differently and stop stigmatizing women. We're going through a lot. Women are going through a lot. It's a lot to deal with, honestly speaking. And I believe, like in Quiver Full, like we say, happy family, happy society. Yeah. If you deal with a woman, you know, treacherously, and, you know, she's a ghost of herself, you know, she's not productive, at the end of the day, it's going to come back to you, the man, you know. And we find situations where that the man is now looking for a second wife or looking for baby mamas, and sometimes you see that, of course, the babies come. By the time you find out, the man is not even the
owner of the baby.
You know.
So you've had cases like that. How did you?
We've seen all sorts.
Like
no, not directly. We hear all these stories. People bring stuff to you for counseling, not necessarily.
So let's talk about you now as a person. How's motherhood for you? I mean, how many years did it take you?
Oh, many years. Many, many years. Many years. You know, I remember that it was 2018, actually, that our baby came. We have an adorable son. It's going to be 11 in April. It's going to be 11 in April. And the truth of the matter is, like I said, there's a difference between being a big mommy and being a mommy. So the first time my son called me, all of a sudden I didn't even know why he doesn't say mother or mommy. You know, it says mom. You know, I can never forget. I remember there was a time we were in England. You know, I was in England and him and his dad came to join me. I was away for like a week on training, and then so they joined me so that we can do vacation together. And then they came when I got back home and I saw that, oh, showered for him, put him on my lap, and as I was, you know, dressing him up, he hugged me by the side and said, I love you, Mom.
Oh.
You know.
There's nothing like that. It melts you.
I got teary, and it's, I don't know, but like you said, it's not only in this climb. Some women are wired like
To
we
be
are wired.
mothers,
You just
yeah.
want to see
Your
your own child. It's a natural thing. You know, of course, there are other people in the other climes also that this thing is a big deal for them as
Yeah,
well.
true.
I've seen many people that have done many. In fact, people call in on a fertility conference. People DM me to say, oh, they have tried IVF for many years abroad. You know, what is our success rate in Nigeria? They are trying to see if they can do so in Nigeria, or adoption, you know, all those kind of stuff. So it's everywhere, all over the world. And I mean, this is one of the reasons that the fertility conference actually went virtual. It was after COVID that we said, okay, let's do this year, let's do virtual. We realized that it was even more impactful. People all over the world. So we're able to reach more people. We're able to counsel with more women who are going, a lot of people all over the world. It's a world, it's a global issue.
So, you know, many Nigerian women don't find it comfortable to talk about their stories, especially stories like this that they feel would stigmatize them.
Yeah.
What do you think helped you to share your story? Was it how long it took you to get it, or what was it that encouraged you, knowing how Nigerians can be quite judgmental, to do this?
Naturally speaking, I am, by nature, I'm not one that is, I don't really care what people think of me. Okay. You know, and again, the older you get, I'm 60 this year by August, by the grace of God.
You don't look it.
So when you get to this age, this is not the age that you really give
hoots.
A hoot what someone thinks or feels about you. Right. So, and naturally, I'm a very free person. I don't know how to tell a lie. I'd rather not tell you than lie. You know, I know I'm under like what is it called? Confidentiality with my husband. I have to say this. Honey, please, I'm sorry.
Oh, we're sorry too.
So, what helped me to tell my story was the fact that when the issue of adoption came to the fore, I struggled a bit. The reason I struggled, which is why the question you asked was very valid, I struggled not because I wasn't open to it. In fact, before we got married, one of the things my husband and I were talking about was, you know what, we're going to have two and we're going to adopt one. So when people started telling me, oh, this, do you know what was my major issue? It was like, what will people think? How will I explain it? My mother that is a prayer warrior. My mom would say, oh, God has failed her.
Ouch.
You know, these were the things I was thinking. But guess what? When I made up my mind that, you know what, let everybody feel the way they feel. When we get to that bridge, we'll cross it. And my husband and I decided and everything. The same mother of mine that I was so concerned about. When I told her, she went on her face and prostrated to God. I said, Father, thank you. So this is how you wanted to do it.
Aww.
This is what you've been showing me all along. She was so happy. I'm like, jeez.
I'm having goosebumps.
You understand? And everybody that I was concerned about fell in line. It was just God orchestrated.
Yeah.
It was a story that was something that was orchestrated by God. So I really don't care what anybody thinks.
Of course.
I am a joyful mother.
Yes, so you are.
Adorable, intelligent, smart son. And that's what matters.
That's deserving of clap. I think we can end with that. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, and we wish you the best on what you do, and hope that more women can be blessed through you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's all we can take.
Thank you.
On today's show, hope you learned a few things as we have. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.
Thank you, ladies. I try to